Windrush Day, Colourful Radio.
Good afternoon, good afternoon. If you're just joining us, we are here live at Pop Brixton celebrating Windrush Day in the 74th year anniversary. I'm your host, Iola, and I'm with my co-host, the beautiful Janelle Raven.
Still here. Now you got my surname in there as well.
I did. Yeah, I just thought I'd
She
make it
forgot
a
my
bit more
name
formal.
earlier.
No, I didn't.
No, she didn't really.
So we're here speaking to fantastic, amazing people locally who are making a fantastic impact, on the community and beyond, from all walks of life. And our next guest is Stedman Scott, who's the founder of Afewee in Brixton Recreation Centre. Welcome, Stedman. How are you doing?
Yeah, fine, thank you, sister. Well, and hello, everyone.
Yes?
Yes, sister, yes, fine, thank you, yes.
Good, good. So tell us a little bit about your organisation. What do you do?
Well, my organization, football is a thing that we start off with. It's not about what the fee is about. But football is what we start off. And it's about creating an environment right, to give our youngsters a greater opportunity. Because when you speak about Windrush Day, it's about speaking about the first black person registered in this country. Right the way up to what our mothers and fathers have to go on. It's about talking about the past to where it is and all the sadness that we're going to go through to reach to where we are.
Yeah.
So it's a journey that we're going to go through.
Yeah.
That you're sitting here now talking to me and feeling free when no other part of Europe is like here. You must understand how we happen to get here. So
Yes.
our mothers and fathers
Yes.
being abused, brutalized, everything by the system. My generation who, I now come to this country straight from Jamaica, landing to Brixton in the 60s,
Okay.
where things were dark. See, that is the story of the Windrush. You have blackout, you have everything, you have fags, you go to school, you're only on a blackboard there, not many. In my case, when I come to this country, when I speak, no one didn't understand what I was saying.
Yeah.
Because I come from the rough part of Jamaica.
Okay.
Now it's a flavor.
So you speak broad, they
Yes,
say.
so me talk raw. So you have to understand. So we witness all of these so-called abuse to our mothers and fathers.
Yes.
Then when we go to school, we get the same thing.
Right.
Then when we decide time to leave school, and you go to the career person, and he's supposed to put you into, even if you're educated,
Yeah.
he's putting you into labor job that doesn't have no self-esteem.
Yeah.
All of us go into work, and when you go into work and you find yourself at the bottom not getting paid, you got to hear the story first and then get to why Afewee is for. I can't tell you about Afewee until you hear the story of why we got to go through.
Right.
And then when you watch all of those stuff there and you said, okay, my mother's taking salt, you see mothers and fathers come back in crying, but they've got to hang on to the job because they've got to feed us. And then when we grow up now, and we see the same thing. When you're young, you don't understand those things, even going to school.
Yeah.
But it's when you leave school in 16, 17, when now it's your time to go out on the road, then you start to realize things are not fair. And then when the teacher or the so-called person who's supposed to, set you for your future,
Yes.
he's setting you on a path of no hope, no self-esteem, no self-worth, and he expects you now, as a young person coming out, to accept that.
Yeah.
So when we decide that no, and we decide to go into the street, that's when they bring up these so-called stuff, a suspected person, attempted theft. And from you as a young person, and you're not in your area or anywhere else, once the system drive past the police, because we don't dislike the police, but the police is the first form of defense. It's like saying, if you don't stay into the circle that the system wants you to put into, then the police come up to the front. I mean, so that led to 5 riots. 'Cause our mothers and fathers being to the first one, that was in 1958.
Yes.
See? And then, that was abused by the teddy boy, by the skinhead, and all these so-called, right? That they didn't want to leave the country because they were so terrified.
Yeah.
So when we grew up in the 70s, our first riot when we was born was 74. Then it got 76. Right? Now 74, what the system did with my generation, Brixtonian, is to give us all prison sentence. So majority of Brixtonian youngsters, I've been to the prison, no, I've been to the so-called, the approved system and all of these stuff there. So we all have conviction going through the system. So by the time the 1981 come, we was seasoned boys who understand the system, understand the country, and during the recession, we didn't really worry because we wasn't working. The system gave us conviction, so we're forced to survive by using our wit. And that's bringing 1981 riot around.
Yes.
In those days, we have Maggie Thatcher speaking about the country is getting swamped by different culture.
Yes.
You have what you call my friend Ahina Power speaking about the river of blood. So we face all of these things, and it come to the riot. And for the first time in this country, they send out somebody to go and investigate, because in all our time, we was abused. We go to our mother and father saying, the police is abusing us. Our mother and father said, no, you're telling lie. Because our mothers and father, police didn't knock at their door. They was decent folks.
Yes.
The best.
Yes.
Right? The best generation that comes in this country is the Windrush generation, because what they have done.
Yes.
Reggae music have changed it.
Absolutely.
You understand? It changed everything.
Absolutely.
Makes we have to fight through everything, all the culture, all the so-called spirit. Britain was a dark, cold place, plain like a potato, no flavor. Okay? No flavor. So this was what England was like. So after the riot, and the new things comes out, and they build Bricks and Recreation Center, they start to build a center first, right? The beauty about Bricks and Recreation Center, people don't seem to understand. That is the only building in Europe that black people fight and achieve something.
Okay.
That is why Nelson Mandela, out of all the so-called important people, Nelson Mandela makes sure when he comes to this country, he comes to Bricks and Records to show homage because what it have done.
Okay.
It opened up the eyes.
Yeah.
British is a society that controls black people. It's the one who enslaves us. It's the one who, what you would call, translate the Bible from Latin into English. It's the one who have the Magna Carta law. So it's the ruler of the planet when it concerns black people.
Yeah.
Black people freedom based in you making your impact into this country. That is why Afewee has created. We must create young person, let them know that said, the system is yours. You can change the system. You can't run away from the system.
Yes.
But what you got to do, you're going to fight for the same rights as any white person into this country. That's all you want.
So, firstly, Stedman, thank you so much for that, backdrop, because as you said, it's so integral to understand the struggle, to understand the context, to understand the history. And you've broken it down very succinctly, very passionately. We, really feeling the energy and the spirit of the struggle and the fight, and the fact that it's still ever present. So how does Afewee help to challenge those things? What's your organization's role specifically with regards to that?
No, for the past 25 years, Afewee was created in 1997.
Yeah.
I first went into the youth system in 1980. After the riot, I was a person on the street of Brixton. I come off the street of Brixton. We are in front of the black race into this country. What Brixton does, others follow. So when I was, after the riot, I was confused. I see the street changing. I can see the new flavor coming in.
Yeah.
Brixton was a place where black people didn't go and kill each other. It was a unity place. That was our strength. I see the difference of Brixton changing. So I go into the recreation center from 1986, and I get stuck in there. And then I decide to get qualified. I didn't know why I get qualified, and then I end up at Dick Shepherd Youth Center. When I went to the youth center, I didn't like football, because I went there to be a trainer because I want to have a gym. And when I went there, a person said to me, they don't do instructor in here, but they do football. And I went to, and a person said to me, Lee Parker said to me, go and speak to Tony Goldwyn, which is my partner now, in the football. And I went to Goldwyn, and I said, what the football badge is like. And he said to me, just take the badges, man. Even if you don't want it, take it. So when I went for the badge, the bloke said I was good. So for the next 10 years, I watched Dick Shepherd, watch the youth start to change, watch Dick Shepherd system changing. Kids now the bad kids come into certain school, the system start to allow you that you can't put any more rules and regulation, and you can see the thing drifting away. At the time, I become London five-a-side champion, okay? Due to the setback, I went away back to Her Majesty. As far as I'm concerned, that was the best thing happened to me, because when I went back into prison in 1994, it gave me time to look into myself.
Right.
Study, look into myself, see certain things. And then when I come back out in prison in 97, for the first time, Crystal Palace football was in our community. We wasn't exposed to proper level of football, because as far as I'm concerned, black people can't play football. I mean,
Really? Wow, the irony.
No, as far as I'm concerned, we only can do cricket, okay? It's too cold.
And look now.
So we didn't expose to anything like those.
Yeah.
Well, so when I come back out, one of my friends was involved coaching with Fulham, with Crystal Palace. So I went on one of his sessions, and then the next thing, they decided to hire me, employ me as a self-employed. I mean, say, okay, just come and do your stuff. And then I decided to rent a place in Brixton Recreation Centre. Go and find Tony Goldwyn, who was my original partner, and then the next thing is history. Now, during the 25 years, I've got over 53 signed players to the professional club.
Wow.
I've got 26.
Can we just give a clap for that?
26
Wow.
of the professional contract. 2 of these are England international, 1 male and 1 female. In 2014, I decided to found a next branch of Afewee, and that's the boxing side.
Okay.
During that time, the boxing now have a young person getting ready for a world title shot in the summer. I've got a young lady who just won the European amateur title in boxing.
Fantastic.
But we have over 300 kids coming through our door. Our whole matter is, since we know what the problem is, we know what I said, it wasn't the system who give us equal opportunity. What equal opportunity I've given to us is segregation.
Yeah.
Okay? Because it now put us where before no one did not have no rights, no religion, no disability, no woman, no freedom rights.
Yeah.
Freedom of information. These things come around because of 1981, what my generation have been prisonized, go through, and have to fight, and yet we are not the one who's in the driving seat knowing what is best.
Yeah.
It's people who never fight for freedom are the one who are thinking what's best for us, not knowing that, say, if you don't know what the problem is, how can you think what's best for us?
Yes.
The first thing that you must do is to create a positive environment for our young people.
Yeah.
Put him, say, if he doesn't want to be a footballer, don't come into my place. If you don't believe in yourself that you can go to the top, I want you to put your heart where you cannot reach it. That means that you will never stay at the bottom.
Yeah.
So what we do is trying to rethink our young people of how to be successful in a system
That doesn't want them to be.
that is not a part of you.
Right.
You must change the system. And by changing the system, we must use the platform, and that means we get involved where the future is the youngsters. So all the youngsters in your community are yours.
Yes.
If you
absolutely.
decide to leave them alone,
Yeah.
then they're going to come back and mug your kids or do yours. Remember,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hence
you
the
must be a
name.
father for all the kids in the
Yes.
community.
Yes.
Then that way you secure your kids, because the kids who didn't have no opportunity and you don't show no for every kid's coming to my place.
Yes.
I'm his grandfather, I'm his father, and if his mother and father come to my football place, his mouth, shut your mouth and sit there. Because you don't know what success is.
Yeah.
I've been through it, and I know what the problem is.
So
Yeah. Sorry, just, go on.
no, I was gonna say that your passion is palpable, your energy is palpable, and it's infectious. And just with the numbers that you've given, it's so inspirational to hear how many young lives that you've helped, and you continue to help. But you've given us real frank insight into your story, and there were a couple of pivotal moments in your life. Twice you went and had tea with Her Majesty, but not necessarily at her table in Buckingham Palace.
That's a
Two
part
times
of,
around. So
that's a part of fighting for freedom.
Of course it is, but there's always, you know, with that journey, you've ended up in prison on a couple of occasions. With that journey, there's always a kind of a crossroads.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
you know, before we let you go, I just wanted to know, what was that pivotal moment that inspired you to turn things around, and not only turn things around for yourself, but to then help others?
No. When I speak about our life as a black person, it's emotional because it's real. Right? You have to live it. Okay? So, in every time in your part, you're going to look into yourself and you're going to say, what is your strength? Your strength based in the life that you live, but you're going to look into it. So, you don't have time on the street to look into yourself. But when you're locked away, it's like Moses going out but in the desert, and you got nothing to disturb you.
Yeah.
So you got to focus on, if you're a person, I'm a person that each environment I go into, I must learn that environment. I go in there for like an empty board, but I'm going to learn the environment. So once you're in there, my partner, I don't want to come back out.
Yeah.
I don't want to, because when I went to jail first, as far as I'm concerned, I've never been round the clock. I've been to prison as a young person because when we was young, reason why the system couldn't do us like the way they're doing our youngsters now is because we were sensible. We commit crime that we're going to give us 6 months, 2 years, or whatever it is. Our youngsters now are involved with crime that are going to give them life sentence, and prison is privatized.
Yes.
And I mean, say, if prison is privatized, it's only one workforce going to be the workforce.
Yeah.
It's going to be like American. Black and people of color are going to be the workforce.
Yeah.
So if we don't realize those things and decide for saying that you must take control of certain situation, that means you have to be, I say to youngsters, your job is to master what you go for. Once you master what you go for, then you cannot be stopped.
Yeah.
Do not go there and sleep. Do not waste your time as a youngsters having fun. I say to my youngsters when they come to my place, fun is going to make you a servant.
Yes.
So when you come into my place, don't say fun. My job is to train you, right? So when you leave school, your future set.
Yes.
Now when you leave school, you start to think about your future. Then you're going to be a servant, son. My job is to educate you
Yes.
of how to be successful in this system here that you must change.
Thank you so much, Desmond. Thank you. Literally lost for words, the passion and the work that you do. Thank you.
Yeah, really.
Thank you for what you're doing.
Okay, sis.
And if anyone can wants to find out more about joining up, where can they go? Do you have a website or?
Now, well, Afewee is based in Brixton Recreation
Okay,
Center.
so just come
if you're
down
going
there.
to, you should put the Afewee name in.
Yeah.
Afewee is there.
Brixton
But
Recreation.
also, Afewee is moving into one other thing. Next year, when the council take over Brixton Recreation Center, 'cause this is very important. Windrush mean one must look and let the government know what it is. Our legacy is in all community. But in all community that this so-called investment has come into, the black and brown don't see no investment, no improvement. Okay? So these things need to be able to address, because we make these, just like Brixton now. Brixton is being taken away, gentrified, and yet we're the one who created. So we need the council to have the responsibility to make sure we're a part of it. Afewee want to know, they said, when the council take back over the recreation center, Afewee is the major part of it, so we can represent the future of our young people.
Yes.
'Cause that's the only right they've got in here,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that building there. And we're going to use it to change our young people. And I want to do education in there, reading, and maths. So when our kids comes into there, he won't be like when he goes to school and they leave him alone for say, okay, this boy rude. No, in Afewee, when you come in, son, you're going to spend that 2 hours learning, because we know, say, if we don't do it now, later on, we're going to feel it.
Thank you so